What's up, everyone? This is Cristina.
And I'm Andrea from Lacuna Coil.
And you're watching Heavy New York.
Heavy, 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 heavy New York!
Hey everybody, it's Alex from Heavy New York. We are at Red Music today, and today we are here with Cristina and Andrea of Lacuna Coil. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Our pleasure.
Yep, it's so awesome to have you here. Black Anima, scheduled to come out October 11th. Is this intended to be like a direct follow-up to Delirium, or do you think that this new record kind of stands out more in your catalog?
Well, of course, it is a different record, and we didn't think about it as the follower of Delirium. But of course, it is an evolution of Delirium in a way that is the next in line, with our experiences and with our life. But the concept, the idea behind it is completely different than Delirium. We thought about Black Anima as a sort of our own book in which we see all the human feelings, even the feelings that we tend to hide, like hate and envy and the bad feelings that sometimes you try to keep inside and not to show to someone else. And it is a consideration of where we are right now as adults, with all the things that we did in the past. So living the present as it is.
Yeah, I think a common thing with Delirium is maybe that we just took it as a starting point in a way that we have gone a bit more free in Delirium musically, especially going more towards the heavy side of Lacuna Coil. And I think that we discover with Delirium that we actually, when we do whatever we want and when we pursue a heavier path, our music sounds really good and then people really like it. So we decided we weren't worried about, okay, this is too heavy for what people expect from us, or this is too complicated. So we just went with the flow of the music instead, and we felt more free. That's what we learned from Delirium, probably.
Interesting. Now, you mentioned like there's certain concepts behind your albums. Like I know that like Delirium sort of had like an emphasis on illness, and I know that Shallow Life kind of had like its own little story behind it. Do you guys think of these concepts before you lay down music, and that helps determine the outcome of the music, or do you need to hear music before you come up with lyrics or a story?
I think it's a combination of things, because we always loved to combine something strong visually to our music. And it's not that we sit down, with a piece of paper and mechanically say, this is going to be connected to this and that. Of course, the music comes first, but then we thought about Black Anima, and the whole idea of the book came out, and the symbol that Marco created came out, and this was related to the actual symbol of Milano that inspired the logo. So everything is connected, but is something more subtle, not as mechanical. So it's hard for us sometimes to describe why we did something, why we decided for some sort of graphics in the record, because for us everything came natural and connected, but it's hard to talk about it in a way that could be completely understandable from everyone else.
Yeah, we're trying to brainstorm all together at the same time. So when Marco goes certain directions with the music and maybe he's stuck somewhere, then we give him some inputs from the lyrics or from the titles or a book that I read or something, like an idea that can help him develop towards a certain direction. And for this record as well, we worked in this way. We were brainstorming about the topics that we wanted to face, like the past 3 years we've been through, losing family members or friends, or so in our age we kind of have a different approach to these things happening. And then I was also reading on the side a book called The Physics of Angels, which was an analysis of the figure of angels and spirits faced by two people. One was a scientist and one was a religious person. So they had to both approach from a different angle, to the topic, and it was very interesting for me. So that also helped to, put together the concept and help us developing the lyrics using this, but not as a full concept album. It's more like this is the generic theme that we want to have for the image, for the approach to the lyrics, and for certain sides of the graphics and the music. But then we also talk about our personal stories.
It's coming from different angles, because if you think about the fact that Marco, our bass player, writes the music separately from us, because he's the one that composes the music. But then, of course, we contribute with lyrics that are adding something completely different that maybe Marco might not completely know. So it comes from like a total teamwork conveying in the record, and that's what gives the spirit to the record itself.
Well, do you like to maybe leave the record open to interpretation? Like, can Black Anima sort of
We
be...
always do.
Okay, so
We-
it's
we
not
always
like
do.
you're
Yeah,
trying to inform the listeners,
Yeah.
get them to see things from your
We're
own.
not trying to send messages, or we don't try to tell people what they have to do, or impose something. All the lyrics are usually a reflection of what we feel, and we like to leave the meaning a little bit open. We like the fact that listeners can apply whatever they read, whatever they hear, to themselves, because that's the beauty of music, when you can dream with it, when you can be healed by it, when you can think about yourself while you're listening to it. And that's our goal. We write for ourselves selfishly, because for us is a self-therapy, and we like to do it because it's our life, but we never write with the intent of sending a message, or you gotta do this because we say this. It's like, whatever, you listen to it, you make the song yours, and you apply it to your own life.
Interesting. As somebody who does listen to you guys, if you were to play me 10 seconds of a song, I could tell that's off of Inner Reverie, that's off of Unleashed Memories, Karma Code, so on and so forth. It's fair to say that even with Black Anima, so what you were telling me, you like to take a new approach to every album. It's not like you guys have like a formula that you stick with, right?
Not so much. I think in all these years we surely have developed a certain personality as a band with certain characteristics. So if you hear the voices, you know it's probably going to be us, you know. But obviously we try to keep it fresh for ourselves first, because we're going to live with these songs for the rest of our life and we're going to play them a lot of times. So we try to have first, as she said, something that pleased ourselves first. But maybe it's also the kind of people we are. You know, we like to keep it fresh, and we have a lot of interesting stuff that maybe like video games or comics or we movies, TV series, like everything fresh. We need to be fed with freshness and art and ideas all the time. You know, so that's important for us to give back the same. You know, to gather all these experiences and art and ideas, and then push it back towards something new.
Does the source of inspiration, especially with Black Anima, does this come from within more or less? You mentioned the book that you were reading, but are you looking externally, or is there an internal source that you look at for inspiration as well?
We look at externally to soak in and bring it back inside ourselves. It always comes from within. For us, I mean, music, it's a feeling, it's a sensation. So if you feel it, if you believe in what you're doing, then you're able to push it out and put songs out because of this. So of course we take a look at what's happening outside, but then I think I can find the word. We process it.
Yeah, you said it right.
and that's where it starts.
Interesting. Now, in addition to having many different sounds in your music, I think you guys tackle just about every single emotion. You have songs like Falling or My Demons, which is very melancholy, but then you have songs like Fire or I Like It, that's very catchy, and then you have songs like The House of Shame, that's pretty brutal. And from hearing the first single, Layers of Time, that's a pretty aggressive song. It's fair to say you guys feel many different emotions when listening to music, right?
Absolutely.
I think for us, we are a band that mostly has been self-taught. Like we didn't really study a lot of music in the past. We were coming more from being passionate to music and want to express our energy with music. But it's not that we've been thinking too much. You know, I think we're very instinctive kind of band. You know, we never. Of course, we had to learn certain things, we are learning every time we record an album. We learn a lot, but it's important for us that we've been able to push what we are into the music, you know. So it has to be a natural approach for us.
Mm-hmm. When you further experiment with your sound, like again, when you compare like the first EP to Delirium, there's a lot of differences, but it's fair to say that with each record, especially with Black Anima, it seems like more doors open in the future for further experimentation, right?
Yeah, we were never against experimentations, even if we know very well what Lacuna Coil is. So we know that we don't want to push ourselves over that thin line that defines Lacuna Coil. But we always evolved. We always brought something different, and for us, it would be weird to think that nowadays we are the same we were in '98.
Mhm.
So for us, it's a natural evolution.
Yeah. I mean, I was 5 when the first EP came out,
Yes,
so
exactly.
you compare.
Well, and we were just 18. No, but I mean, what is interesting and what amazes me is that obviously when you start a band, you kind of try to sound like your favorite bands, you know. And then we kind of found already a personality because we were using so many different elements, like Christina's voice, my voice. So it was already particular in the beginning, even if we were a lot into the gothic metal scene with bands like Type or Paradise Lost or Tiamat. So we were obviously inspired by those, you know. Then moving forward, we probably got more self-aware, and so we know how to use our characteristics towards also more open genres with different influences. So I'm curious to see what we're gonna do when we're gonna get older. You know, I'm gonna maybe do more. I don't know, maybe we're too old, so we have to go acoustic or electronic or I don't know. So it'll be fun to see when we are, if we would be able to do it. It would be very interesting to see a full life
The whole evolution,
in the spectrum
exactly,
of music.
how we changed.
Yeah. And, you know, I just saw you guys at both of the 119 shows at Gramercy Theater. And when you're playing a lot of the older material, like Veins of Glass or like When a Dead Man Walks, versus playing some newer material, you know, you're about to go on tour with All That Remains, so you have to play a lot of the Black Anima material. But do you have like a different perspective on your older material now as you've progressed in the future?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. For me, for example, the feeling, and that is weird to say because of course I love the old songs as well, but they were more mellow. So when we played a lot of those mellow songs during the live show, I saw all the fans just listening to them and not moving that much because of course they were not that aggressive. So from a stage perspective was like, oh, do they like them? They don't. But they were listening, of course, and they were like, oh my God, it was incredible, it was magical. But you don't get the same energy that you get from the most energetic song, the most aggressive songs. So that was the difference for me. And of course, you know, it's just like weird to play some of the songs after so much time. You feel the difference of the songwriting. You really feel how your lyrical songwriter changed. In our perspective, it's just like, oh wow, we put this. Why did we put these words? They sound awkward because we didn't know English very well back then. So sometimes we put together lyrics in a weird way.
Oh, we were trying to impress more with poetry, you know, try to be more elevated in a way, you know, while now we're more aware of how you write lyrics in English to be understood by people, and we're more capable of writing, you know.
Yeah. And I mean, I've been noticing more moshing at the shows too. You can't mosh to a song like Distant Song.
Exactly.
And the final question I wanted to actually ask you is, you know, at these two shows, I met people who traveled from all over the world.
Oh, yeah.
There was people from Chile, I think, who
Yeah,
traveled.
from Israel, Puerto Rico, London.
You guys have some of the most dedicated fans I've ever seen in working in metal. When you hear somebody say on how their music connects with you, or how, you know, their music has helped them through a hard time, how much do you look at yourself differently as an artist when you hear how your art has connected with people?
I don't think that we look differently as artists because, as I said, I mean, we write because we love to create music, but it is a great feeling to know that we can help somehow, you know, with our music. We get messages daily from people telling us, I was thinking about suicide and you saved me. I was going through a very bad moment and listening to your stuff made me go through it and I'm still here. A girl the other day was just like, you're the reason why I'm still here. And it is heartwarming because without even knowing it, we're doing something more than creating our art. We're sharing our heart and art with our fans, and it's the best feeling in the world.
At the end of the day, you have to think that we also had bands that helped us in the past, you know, in a different level, you know. In music, that's the magic of music, you know. It's very democratic, you know, for everybody. It's like right there, and you just grab it when you need it, you know. So that's the magic of music, and we don't even realize it because for us, music is just what we do, you know. It's not. We never thought that it could save lives, of course, you know. So it's a special connection that music has, and it's right there, and it's magic in a way.
Yeah,
But
especially
music heals.
for
Yay!
for big fans. So it really does connect with a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I'd like to thank you guys so much for your
Thank
time
you.
today, and
Thank
we
you.
look forward to you coming back with All That Remains. Everybody, we are here with Lacuna Coil, Black Anima, out October 11th. Pick that up and catch them on their tour with All That Remains, Bad Omens, and Tooth Grinder. We'll see you next time on Heavy New York.